Welcome back, sailors, to the world of Aeternum. It's the day of reckoning, but before we begin, it's time to fill your mind with some combat tips to help you on your journey. Without further ado, let's get to it. So first, let's briefly talk about weapon recommendations. I would advise that you try not to go for musket right off the bat. It's going to be tough to craft the ammo if you don't have a good farming method, let alone know how to make it, and I think the gathering areas are going to be flooded early on. If they haven't changed the recipe, you'll have to use fire motes from dragon glory plants that you can find in places like Amrine Temple, northeast of Windsward. These can also be found in chest or salvaged from fire staffs and fire essence. You won't start getting a decent supply of this until later on, so I would recommend going throwing axe or sword and shield if you're planning on having a dex-based character. And speaking of, the throwing axe is pretty awesome early game. I used it a lot, and the basic attack is very fast paced, which will allow you to continuously stagger your opponent, especially in PvP. It's easy to chain the throwing skills into your attack, so if you're good at dodging, this could be a really good weapon for you. Magic staffs might be a little difficult to use early on without any melee weapons to back it up, but I highly recommend at least leveling up the life staff to get the dash ability. It's pretty much one of the only mobility skills we get and actually allows you to traverse over terrain. I used to use it all the time for dashing across entire mountain cliffs and onto other buildings or across land in general. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier is what I'm saying. For the dodging side of things, learn to do it as well as you can. Sometimes there's going to be an attack that you can dodge but can't block, and vice versa. For example, as you start fighting different creatures, you'll start to notice what's called a grid attack. This is a special move that mobs will initiate when they start to get more invested in the fight. They vary from mob to mob in terms of what they can do, and some of these will really mess you up. And in some cases even get you killed if you're fighting too many at once. If you can't dodge it, block it. Don't just take it to the face and try to pop a health pot after. Also, when you block an attack at low stamina, your guard will break, but your stamina will immediately regenerate to full if they haven't changed it. This can actually be a good thing if you're blocking a slow but powerful attack that takes time to recover from. Keep this in mind in PvP as well. For your gear, aim for getting different sets of it. Think of this game's combat system a little bit like Monster Hunter or Dark Souls. There's always something you can do to prepare for every situation. If you fight a lot of corrupted mobs or angry earth, get gear and weapons that give bonuses against them. If you plan on leveling up or switching between different weapons and different attributes depending on what your group needs, get different sets of gear. Long ago, we talked about how gem slots will also play a part in raising your attributes. It's important that if you play both as a warrior and a mage from time to time, that you try to get a set of gear with either strength-based or con-based gems, and another with just intelligence. Keep in mind that it'll cost 2k gold every time you respec your character, but being able to fill more than one role can sometimes serve you very well. Like I mentioned earlier, don't forget to level up and always carry a life staff. Would recommend doing this early on because not only can it be used for traversing across terrain, but also cutting down on travel time and escaping or repositioning in PvP. Now lastly, make sure you aren't forgetting your other weapon slots. After a certain point, we should get access to all three. Leveling up multiple different weapons can come in handy, and not just because of the life staff that I recommend you always carry. Since our cooldowns are chained together, sometimes you could switch to Warhammer if needed and execute Path of Destiny, which is a ranged crowd control move. Or pick out a sword and use the Whirling Blade if you have at least 2 or 3 enemies around you. You can use different weapons and their cooldowns to your advantage if you do it right. Best thing you can do early on is read the skills and their passives so you can know which direction you want to take your character. For the last thing, it'll always be important to make use of setting down your campfires for respawns. Register at an innkeeper in towns or outposts so you can either respawn there or teleport back at any time, which triggers a cooldown. And definitely bring consumables like healing potions or weapon coatings like we've covered before. One cool thing to know is that if they haven't changed it, it was possible to stack food buffs if you ate different types. Food that gave you bonuses to engineering, and food that was specifically for health recovery worked together, for example. And both trophies plus food buffs are going to help you stay alive even more, alongside item perks. And also, if they haven't changed it, mobs have elements that they're weak against and elements that they're strong against. The trophies you put in your house are said to be global as well, so make sure you aim for getting some as soon as you can. Treating this game's combat system like Monster Hunter could be what separates those who struggle and those who can tackle any obstacle without fail. If there's ever a situation in the game where you feel stuck, a quest you can't beat, boss you can't take, call for help, get some consumables, prepare yourself, and come back to kick its ass. I believe in you. With that, folks, thank you very much for joining me. I hope these tips will help you at least a little bit, but I promise to try and expand on them later if any more need explaining. Have a wonderful night or day, and farewell.